And then when you get to that worries me place and you're inevitably on Comrades, you find a couple of those times that you're there. And you pull the phone out and you have a look at those names and you remember the fact of why you're actually doing this. And, it's a lot easier when you're sitting in that situation that those little kids fighting this fight would do anything to be where I am right now with a torn calf and a race ahead.
Welcome back to another episode of Good Things with myself, Brent Lindeque, the Good Things guy. I've got a friend in studio today, which I'm really excited about. Richard Laskey and I have known each other for years and years and years. I don't know, it was a couple of years ago. You emailed me. I met you at a hotel. I think it was somewhere in Santon, and we sat down and we had coffee, and you told me all about what you do, Modern Athlete, which is your publication, a beautiful publication, and about the good work that you do in South Africa with CHOC. I just bumped my mic. With CHOC, but dressed as a cow.
Pretty much.
Dressed as a cow. Richard, welcome to the show.
Stoked to be here. Thanks. It's been a while. Thanks very much for the invite.
I haven't seen you in a while, but now we get to catch up. Let's go back almost 2 decades or so with the cows. What the hell is a cow and why did it start?
18 years in November. Little Jess passed away from neuroblastoma. She passed away just over 20 months old. And her folks had got involved with CHOC and learnt about what CHOC was and what CHOC do for the kids who've got the terminal disease. And they wanted to give back. And over the years, I've always done races for different charities. I've done Comrades in a dog suit for SPCA, and then we've obviously done stuff for Starfish and for breast cancer pink drive. So I always did races for charity. Figured I'm not going to win it, so I might as well try and make a bit of a small difference. So there was 6 of us and we got together, and the plan was to ride Joburg, which is the old 947. And the goal was that the 6 of us raised 10 grand each, so the 60,000 was the target. We had 9 days to do it in, and it was back in the days of ill repute, so there was clearly a lot of beverages consumed, and we decided we'd obviously try and wear something a little bit different. At the time, we thought it was a great idea to be roosters. We thought a bunch of big cocks raising money, but that was the concept, which clearly, thank goodness, that didn't happen. So we sent on.
Everybody's laughing.
So thank goodness we sent Steve to the hiring shop the next day, and the only thing he could find 6 of the same were cow suits. So thank goodness he couldn't find rooster suits.
Thank goodness,
because we hadn't quite thought about that whole kids and thankfully the only thing we could find was 6 cow suits. So that's how we became cows. And in 9 days we raised 230 grand, and we didn't want to just hand the cash over, so we asked CHOC what they wanted, what they needed. They needed transport, a form of transport to transport the parents to and from the hospitals. So we said, cool, we bought a Toyota Quantum, branded it, and that's pretty much how the car started back then.
Thank goodness there wasn't a rooster. I love the beginning of it because it lived in purpose. So there was a reason for it. It wasn't just the silly idea of getting in a costume. You were raising money. It was inspired by your friend's child who'd passed away. And all your friends got together to start to make a difference. And you guys have become really well known. Not just in the cycling space, in the running space, in all of these sporting events. Everybody knows the cows are going to be there doing their thing. And obviously, there must be more of you now, or is it still just 6?
No, so the same core group is still there. So we still, that same core group of guys is there, that hasn't changed. Subsequent to Grant and Karen, whose daughter passed away, they had another daughter, Georgia, and Georgia fell off a trampoline and hit her head, and then she actually found out she had a brain tumor. So she landed up passing away as well. So the same family's actually lost 2 daughters. And it's an amazing thing. You always sit here and you go like for me, I don't believe in coincidences. You're exactly where you're meant to be right here, right now. And if those terrible tragedies hadn't have happened, we would never have started the cars.
Yeah.
So so many thousands of lives have been impacted from a negative scenario, and if that had never happened, we wouldn't be making such a difference in so many other lives. So it's all for a reason, a lot bigger than what we know and what we think it is. And so the same core group of people are still involved, and it's got bigger, as you say. It's not just the cycling. It's obviously we've just had Comrades, so that was cool. We've had we've done Kilimanjaro, Epic, Ironman. There's very little that we haven't done. So if there is an event that we haven't done, please let us know, and we'll make sure to get a car across there sometime.
Well, it's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing, and girls. There's lots of cars, lots of different cars, and you mentioned the Comrades, and that's why I brought you in today, because your story was shared far and wide on social media. You've already been interviewed about what happened. You ran Comrades this year. You're a fit athlete. You're good to go. And 6 kilometers in, something happened.
6Ks in, it was going quite nicely. Thought it was going to be a great day out, and I tore my calf. Quite funny, calf in a car. But
just before you move on with the story, what does tearing? I mean, it sounds incredibly painful, but what is tearing your calf? How does that even happen?
It shouldn't happen. So old age is real. It shouldn't happen, but obviously it impacts a bit of. It was going down the hill. It's a down run, but people don't understand the first 45 k's of Comrades down run is up anyway. But it was going down one of the hills, and it obviously puts. You should stop, theoretically, but it wasn't going to happen.
So that's why I have Rich in studio today, because you didn't stop and you continued running and you continued going and you had that mindset to get to the end, and it was all for the kids.
I think it's a very different thing. When you're doing something for yourself, it's one thing. I'm not an elite athlete, so I'm not getting paid to be at races and to win. So it's not going to make a difference whether I'm injured for another couple of weeks or not. So what we do is before the event, I take a permanent marker and I write names of people that I've lost and people that are still fighting the fight. And I get my mates and everybody else to do the same thing and to send me pics of their hands. And then when you get to that woe is me place, and you inevitably on Comrades, you find a couple of those times that you're there, and you pull the phone out and you have a look at those names and you remember the fact of why you're actually doing this. And it's a lot easier when you're sitting in that situation, that those little kids fighting this fight would do anything to be where I am right now with a torn calf and a race ahead. So it makes it so much simpler. It's the why might just become so much easier. For them to be sitting here and not be able to go outside and play with their friends, hair falling out, kids laughing at them because they're doing it, having to explain to a 12-month-old little kid why you're putting a needle in its arm, why you're putting a port in its chest. Those kids don't understand, and that's why we do what we do, is just to try and raise the funds to help these little kids fighting this miserable disease, to pay for psychosocial workers to go into the townships to counsel the parents who've lost kids or whose kids have now got a terminal disease. We're sitting in a very fortunate position where we have medical aid. Most of them don't have that. So what CHOC does is they ensure that if your kid's diagnosed, you will be housed at a house at one of our CHOC houses around the country, and you'll be transported to and from the hospital to go and see your kid, and that's all looked after. So transport's looked after, food is looked after, your petrol then back is looked after. When we talk about our psychosocial worker, what we do is we bill in a vehicle that we purchase, a salary for a year, and fuel for a year. So that means that person is able to go into the townships, go and counsel, talk to parents if they've unfortunately lost the kids. So that's part of the projects that we do. So again, when you're sitting in that situation, people have donated funds into our Give and Gain account. They've gone and spent their money and trusting you to do the job. So you got to make sure the job gets done. So it makes it a lot easier when that happens.
Are we recovering? Are we going to be okay?
We'll always be okay. So there's how we're supposed to recover and how I recover are two different things. So it should be a lot more recovery, but I'm heading to Hoedspruit on Friday for Kruger de Canyon. So it's a 2-day stage trail run. So I've got that coming up on Saturday and Sunday, 42 on Saturday and 28 on Sunday through the Kruger.
And it's for the kids again.
Yeah, for the kids again. We'll be in the car suit, yeah.
So I had the opportunity around, it must have been a year ago, that I got to visit a CHOC house. And I got to see the great work that CHOC was doing, but through your support and through people that support you, and how it makes a difference to entire families. You mentioned that it's a place to stay, it's a safe space for the child and family that don't. In the house that I went to, I met a mom who didn't have a home. There was no home. So her and her child were homeless. They had found out at some point that he had cancer. He was a young kid, maybe 8 years old. And this place had given them a safe space for them to grow and heal. And I think that's so important, is that the healing process needs that support. Imagine, I mean, I'm speaking to the converted here, but for any of the people that are watching or listening, imagine getting that diagnosis, and then perhaps there's a government facility, because that's what you're going to, or a charitable organization like CHOC that is going to get involved to help you on the road to recovery, but then having to leave the hospital to nothing.
I think, and that's so important. The fact that they have nothing. Most of the people that are in that situation, like I said, we've got medical aid. Most of those people are not in that situation. So if it wasn't for the work that we and others do, that's it's a devastating situation. We're so fortunate to be in the situation that we are.
Absolutely, and so the car suit, which is lying on the side, we might show it to you just now. That's going to get worn this weekend as you go on that race. But we need to speak about the other side of you, because you're not just an athlete that does all these great feats.
It's a strong word, listen. Same as running is a strong word.
a slight athlete. You own a publication called Modern Athlete, which also does great things in South Africa and supports many great stories of South Africans doing good things.
Yeah, so I think it's for us, it's telling inspiring stories, pretty much what you do, no different. So we have regular, everyday people. We talk about the elites, obviously. So Glen Rose Traba, she broke the SA Marathon records earlier the year. So she was on our front cover, but our next two front covers was Ipeling Kuno. Ipeling's he runs with crutches, so he's was born like that. I was actually his water boy at Two Oceans, so it's hard for him to get to the water points, and obviously it's slippery on the crutches. So we've had him, he was on our cover, and then last month we had Marissa, so Marissa the rope runner. So Marissa was on our cover. So it's real everyday people that are inspiring others to get off the couch, to do something. You got no excuse. There's like people always have this thing that you only live once, and like it's the biggest crock of nonsense.
You're allowed to swear.
Okay, it's the biggest crock of shit ever. Like you live every single solitary day. You die once.
Yeah.
So when you wake up in the morning, and if you've had a bad day and you feel like you haven't done your best, you look at yourself in the mirror. For me, it's like, how do you improve tomorrow? There's a guy, Chris Nitich, who's the first Down syndrome athlete to do Ironman, full Ironman, and he's got a charity called 1% Better. And that's a beautiful thing. It's just, be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And if we all lived life like that, life would be so much of a better place. What you do, I know, Flip, we've known each other for long enough to know what you do, and it's just the most incredible thing to open it up. And I'm not just saying it because you're here and it's your show. It's really, the world needs more of this positivity. It's the same as people who don't enjoy their job, and you wake up in the morning and you hate what you're doing. Well, then change it. Yeah, I think you know my feelings, and I'm not a religious dude, but for me, the greatest artist ever lives, Bob Marley, and he sings, "Open your eyes, look within. Are you satisfied with the life you're living? And if you're not, well, change it."
Yeah,
it's really as simple as that. It's not, you can't have a woe is me thing. things happen, life happens. You go through ups and your downs. I've been through. Obviously, I've got an addiction background, so I understand. People who go through the addiction, and I've been clean 6.5 years. But every day is another fight. It's just for today. If you can't handle today, well then handle just for the hour. If you can't handle that, just for the minutes, whatever it may be. But you can't make excuses. It's like our country is such a beautiful place, but we spend and we watch what goes on in our country, and we're like going, geez, like there's so much negativity and so much nepotism, and it's like if you're not going to make a difference, well then why is someone else going to make a difference? So that's going back to the mag. That's what we do. We talk about inspirational stories. Just try and promote a healthy living, and just enjoy what we do. I've got a hobby as a business. I'm fortunate,
and so do I. I've got a hobby as a
100%.
business. Well, I love what you said there about the 1%, right? Like just 1% better. I learned a little while ago this amazing special skill. It's one of the most secret skills that people don't speak about, and yet when you find it and you tap into it, it can be life-changing. And that's when you move your body, you move your mind. The two work together. 100%. If I'm feeling terrible, that I applaud you for being clean for 6 years. But when I have the bad hour or the bad minute or whatever it is, if I get to a gym, if I can go for a walk, if I'm able to get out, it changes my brain. It physically changes my brain. And that's my 1% vibe, right? So it's the way that I make myself better during that time. Your publication and telling stories of people that are doing incredible things, inspiring others, that's helping other people be better as well.
I think, and that's exactly what it should be. There was a lady, Lorato, last year, February, saw her at the Baldwin Pretoria Marathon. I mean, she's probably, I don't want to lie, but she must have weighed 150 kilos. And she was stone lost. She was doing the 5K, and I came past I think I was doing the 21. And I came past in the car suit, and I ran a few meters, stopped, I went back, tapped her on the shoulder, said, unbelievable. What you're doing is, phenomenal. The fact that you got out of bed and this is the situation, don't worry about which position you're in. The lady is phenomenal. She's got such a following now. She's I think she's almost 80,000 followers. She's got this fitness journey that she's on. It's just the coolest thing to see how far she's come, and how many people she's inspired along the way. And that's the whole thing. You don't need to be doing these you don't need to be Elon Musk at Tesla and doing all of these other things. You just be a normal everyday person who's going to inspire somebody next to you. And if you've done that, you've done half the job right.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know it's the ordinary, I say ordinary stories, it's not ordinary, it's extraordinary people that are doing really lacquer things that inspire each other to be better. And you telling those stories, you being that story by what you did at Comrades. You're a very humble guy. When I asked you to be here, you were like, I don't even know why you're calling me here. I don't understand why you want me here. It's because your story matters.
You know what? I think, the other stuff we do. So we've got that group called I've Got You. So the I've Got You, it was a group, but it's now become more an independent individual thing. So the I've Got You is if you're suffering mental depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, that type of stuff. So you send me a word each day, we manifest that word. If it's negative, we turn it into a positive. And so that's a daily thing. And I've got I can't tell you how many people on that. So every single day, people sending me stuff, just trying to get out of the mire that they're in. And then we've got a dads group. So the dads group is dads assisting dads. That's guys who've lost their partners, husbands, wives, or whatever it may be. And you're going through everyday life, but just battling. And you used to bounce stuff off your partner. Now your partner's no longer there. What do? So you get home, kid got a shitty report. What do? Hey, so that goes, well, I did this, don't do that because it's a cuck idea, it backfired. Someone else, like my daughter came home, she's just 13, first time of the month, what do? She went, hey, well, I did this and this is how it works. And so it's just guys bouncing stuff off each other all the time. So it's what I do is not professional, it's just real life experience. So dealing with addiction, sobriety, mental anxiety, that type of stuff. So I think it makes you realize that no matter where you are today, there's somebody that's in a way worse situation, and a way worse off than what you are. So it makes you grateful for what you've got. I mean, the fact that I've got the kids and where I come from, my background. I mean, it'll be October's 15 years when my missus passed away.
Yeah.
She decided to tuck and roll and duck on me and leave me with my kids who are 8, 6, and 2. But it's, she had a sense of humor, so I can joke about it.
I'm glad that you put that like T's and C's there, because I'm sure people are listening going, what?
No. So, but again, we started the cows a year before she was diagnosed. So I'd spent a year understanding what cancer was. Although it was kids, I spent a year understanding what cancer was, how it worked, and all the rest. She was diagnosed August 6, 2009 and passed away 3 days before she turned 37 in 12th of October 2010. So it's things like that which happen, which help you deal with other stuff. So the things that I've been through, it makes it so much easier to relate to people who are going through that sort of stuff. And I mean, my girls and the journey that they've been on, it's also been amazing to watch them and how resilient they are and how they help other people in their own stuff. So, I mean, it's all life lessons, and sometimes you've got all the right ingredients, but it doesn't mean the cake comes out the same every time. It's you've been on the MasterChef thing. I don't need to tell you that. So, but I think that's the whole thing. It's just life throws you some ingredients, and you've got to make the best dish available with the ingredients that you've got.
Well, I think you're making a lot of good cakes. I think that there's a lot of good stories to tell, and I think all the viewers and the listeners will agree that we need more people like you. You touched on sort of people that are going through tough times, and you're there assisting people. And we're going to ask you about your details just now so we can get more people messaging you. But the world is an incredibly tough place, and when often I do my keynotes, I say, we're all holding on by a thin thread. Every single one of us has a story. Every single one of us has things that we're going through. And not all of us have got a lifeline. Well, we can feel like we don't have a lifeline. They'll be there. If you reach out, someone will be there. But we can sometimes feel like we're alone. And so you, with your different projects, with your passion and your caring, Richard, you're changing the world.
I'm not doing anything like you, but
no, please don't say that. It's
platforms like this that assist.
Yes,
100%. And it's not I don't look at it like that. It's honestly just, as I said, I'm not a religious dude, but if you take all of the religions in the world and you put them all together, the basic, if you summarize it, it's just be a decent person and be decent to others. And if we all behaved like that, the world would be a better place. It would make it so much simpler.
Absolutely.
I think it's without all the complications and everything else, and the egos. Egos are terrible things. Like that's what destroys everything.
I think there's so many things to learn from this interview. There were so many things that were said. What my takeaway is to keep going and to know what you're going for.
You were going to say Nando's.
Nando's, we love Nando's. My takeaway is Nando's. Nando's sponsor this podcast. My takeaway is to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Figure out the why. When you're at the 6 kilometer mark and your calf is torn off your leg and you look down and you see the names of why you're doing what you figure out your why, and that will keep you going. And if you can't make it through the next day, make it through the next hour, or make it through the next minute.
Absolutely.
So many lessons. If people want to follow you, your logo is there. So I'm sure people saw Modern Athlete is over there. A little bit of a hashtag sponsored. Taylor, can you give us the cow suit? I just want to show everybody the cow suit. Come on. We're breaking the fourth wall. Get in here.
Jump in.
So that's the cow suit over there. If you want to follow, that's also, and you will see them at all the races.
And you have to look at the piercings. I mean, the piercings are the best.
Oh my God. Piercings on the nipples.
They got it. I'm so the same thing. It's got to be done.
Piercings on the nipples. If people want to follow you elsewhere, where can they find you?
They can just Richard Laskey on Facebook and Rich Lask on Twitter, and also Richard Laskey on Instagram.
Yeah, good branding. Keep it all the same. It's been great hanging out with you today. We've learned a lot. To my biggest fan in the studio right now, we've had a fly that's been flying around. I'd love for you to re-watch this episode and find it, because it was between us quite often. It was good fun. It's been amazing. I love you all. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things, and we'll catch up next week. Wishing you only good things. Okay, love you, bye.